As you arrive in the body, imagine peeling an onion, just one paper-thin layer at a time on every exhale, as if you are shedding one little bit that you don't need to hold on to anymore. Peeling off another layer of something you've been carrying a little bit too tightly, and letting it go. Inhaling to find ease, to find strength, to find relaxation, and then exhaling to settle, to peel off another paper-thin layer, to let it fall to the ground, to let the shoulders relax, the jaw, to become totally fine with where you are, with how you are, to be confident that you have shown up exactly as you're meant to today. Peeling off any layers of, oh, I should have done this, or I should do that. And peeling off any layers of feelings, perhaps of not enoughness, or any feelings of shame, or any feelings that don't resonate with your best, highest self. And exhale and just peel off another little layer, something that you can discard by the wayside, and feel good about not carrying it any further. You might like to take a deep breath, a bigger breath, perhaps than you have all day, all the way down into your belly, and let it go through the mouth. And if that felt good, maybe you do another one like that. Inhaling fully, letting the belly expand. And then exhaling through the mouth, let it all go. Nowhere to be, nothing to do. You are right exactly where you need to be. Sometimes the mind doesn't believe that, and so if your mind is feeling quite busy today, if it's trying to distract you or let you know about something that it deems very, very important, try being gentle and saying, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I'm meditating right now. Or, that does sound important, and I will think about it later as soon as I'm done meditating. And the mind might continue to bother you. It might be saying, but what about this, and what about that, and what about this? And you can just let it run its course gently, saying, okay, yep, sounds good. I'll pick that up in a little bit. And eventually it will tire itself out, and the brain will finally settle, like a dog who's so excited to see you and is jumping and barking and running around and sniffing, and eventually it says, oh, okay, everything's fine, and then curls up in its bed. The mind is a little bit like that. You might like to set an intention for your practice. Might be an intention you've worked with for a long time. Might be a new one that's just popped into your brain today. It's nice to set these intentions in the present tense as if they are already happening. I am calm and collected. I do the next right thing. I take everything as it comes. Feel free to borrow one of those if they resonate, or of course, use your own. Repeat your intention a few times, either out loud to yourself or in your head quietly. And then let it fade to the background. It can be the backdrop for the rest of our time together. It doesn't have to be front and center. You might like to come back to the breath, in and out through the nose where you can, and just get really curious about what parts of the body move and at what point in the breath do they move. We cannot see the breath, but we can see the effects of the breath. We can feel the effects of the breath. We can feel that little temperature differentiation as the nostrils dilate and the air comes in. And we can say, I know breath is here because I can feel this. Or we might hear that whisper as the breath comes in and out. You might make that whisper even more pronounced. And cultivate an audible breath, acknowledging, I know breath is here because I can hear it. Or you might find breath in the expansion and contraction of the torso. You might feel the chest rise with the inhale, with the expansion of the lungs. You might feel that in the ribs. You might feel that in the backside body. You might feel it under the arms, this expansion as the air comes in. And you might feel that contraction, that softening, that coming back to center as the breath leaves the lungs, as the exhale goes all the way out. You might say, I know breath is here because I can feel it in my body. I can feel it in my ribs. I can feel it as my chest rises, as my chest falls. You might notice the breath in the belly, or you might be able to consciously pull the breath down into the belly to engage the diaphragm, to let the belly swell as the diaphragm comes down and lets the air in, pushing some of the organs out and away, and then letting them come back to their place on the exhale. You might even put a hand on the belly and feel the belly rise and feel the belly fall as the breath comes in and goes out. And you might say, here's the breath. I can feel the movement in my abdomen. And that tells me that the breath is here. And then choose whichever place, whichever part of the breath, whichever part of the body you would most like to rest the attention. The nostrils, the throat, the chest, the abdomen, somewhere else perhaps. Focus on the inhales and the exhales. If you lose your place, it's no big deal. You simply come back and say, distraction. And then come back and rest your attention gently, either on that same aspect of the breath, or feel free to jump around and explore different parts. And I'll call you back in 2 minutes. Come back to the belly. We'll do one more big breath into the belly. And let it out with a sigh. Again, coming back to this idea of shedding the paper layers of things we don't need to hold on to anymore. These delicate bits that we can simply leave behind. You might pull your intention back into the forefront if you set one, and give some gratitude. Thank that intention for showing up for you today, whether it was easy to hang on to or whether it just kind of faded away. It doesn't matter. You can always bring it back, bring it out, bring it to mind. And then we'll start bringing some very delicate movements back into the body. So perhaps into the fingertips, into the feet, maybe some really gentle swaying or movement. Maybe it's back into those neck rolls or the shoulder rolls. Maybe it's combined with the breath. Maybe it's not. Just gently bring the body back into the rest of your day after that period of relative stillness. And then when you're ready, there is, of course, no rush. If your eyes are closed, you can gently blink. Open your eyes, take stock of where you are. Thanks for practicing with me today.